You've tuned into The Break Room, a weekly conversation about how the city of St. Augustine works from those who do the work every day. Hosted by the City of St. Augustine's Communications Manager, Melissa Whistle, The Break Room offers a closer look at the city's programs and provides updates on current and upcoming projects. And now, your host for The Break Room, Melissa Whistle.
Welcome to The Break Room. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Melissa Whistle, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. Returning with us this week on The Break Room, we have St. Augustine Fire Safety Inspector Abby Pedigo. Abby joined the department in 2014. She started as a firefighter and in 2019 transferred from firefighting to fire safety inspecting. Abby, welcome back to The Break Room.
Thanks for having me.
So today we're going to talk about fire inspections. Let's just jump right in. Tell us about your job as our fire safety inspector.
So a fire safety inspection is an inspection that's conducted to identify potential fire hazards in a building. So depending on the type of business I'm at, the inspection may vary slightly based on the specific hazards I'm looking for and the life safety systems that are required to be in place for that particular occupancy. But for the most part, each inspection is carried out the same way. For me, I walk the entire building inside and out and occasionally go up on the roof, and I'm just looking for fire hazards.
And why, if I'm a business owner or a restaurant owner, why do I have to get a safety inspection?
Yeah, we get that question a lot, especially when the fire marshal or the building official has approved the building and its layout when the business first opened. But inspections are really important. A lot can change over time when businesses are run out of the same building for many years. Mm-hmm. It can be similar to living in a home for many years. You know, your personal items start to accumulate, wear and tear can occur, storage starts piling up where it shouldn't be. And the longer you're there, the more comfortable you get with the way things are and maybe stop noticing those minor nuances that could eventually become major fire hazards. So as an outsider looking in, I can educate business owners and bring to light those fire hazards or potential hazards before they actually cause a fire.
So you mentioned I'm a business owner. Let's say I'm a restaurant owner and I have my fire inspection upon opening. Mm-hmm. And I correct me if I'm wrong, I think you have to have floor plans in place and where everything's located. So would that even, you mentioned the similarity of being in a home. Can a restaurant or a store just rearrange the furniture, as it were, and not need an inspection? Or is that would be an example?
They could rearrange furniture, granted that exit accesses are still left accessible. Right. Means of egress aren't blocked. So there are definitely some changes that business owners could make without notifying the fire department. But if there's any construction being done, if walls are being torn down or put up, then that's something that the fire department needs to know about, because that could create a safety concern if our firefighters are used to the building being one way and have plans drawn of the building a certain way, and then they go in and it's completely different.
That would not be a good idea.
Right.
And is this something from a enforcement standpoint from where you are? Is this a city type of mandate? Is this something that the city has?
Yeah, the city, we're governed under the Florida Fire Prevention Code. Okay. So the city has adopted that code, and that is what we're governed by, and that's what we abide by. And then there are also city statutes in place that require businesses to be inspected periodically. The Florida Fire Code says that businesses will be inspected periodically. Okay. The city statute says that they'll be inspected annually. So that's
so
really
I have
what
to
we
do this
try to
every
abide
year.
by. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and those are city businesses. Any businesses that are registered in the city limits. Commercial occupancies, commercial buildings, and even apartment complexes. If there are over 3 units in an apartment building, we are required to inspect those.
Okay. So anything from a doctor's office, a restaurant, a retail store.
Apartments. Exactly.
Okay.
We do not do residences. We don't go in single family homes. There is an ordinance in the city that's regulating short-term rentals now. Mm-hmm. So beginning in October, we will start inspecting short-term rentals. Okay. But for now, we're still just inspecting businesses and apartments.
Okay, very good. If you're just now tuning in, you're listening to The Break Room. I'm Melissa Whistle, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. St. Augustine Fire Safety Inspector Abby Pedigo is with me today, and we are talking about fire safety inspections. Who needs one, why they need one, and what are you looking for? You mentioned earlier about going through the buildings and looking for things. Can you tell us what do I need to be careful of if I'm a business owner and you're coming my way for my annual inspection?
Yeah, so quite a few businesses in town have extensive life safety systems in place, such as a fire alarm or a fire suppression system, a fire sprinkler system. But most businesses in the city do not have those life safety systems. So when I visit those businesses, a general rule of thumb for the things I'm looking for are the 5 E's. And the 5 E's stand for extinguishers, emergency lighting, exit signs, exit access, and electrical issues. So the first one was extinguishers. Every business has to be equipped with at least one working fire extinguisher. Most businesses have more, depending on the size of the building, the travel distance to get to each extinguisher, how many floors are on the building. You need one per floor. The types of materials inside, the work being done, that sort of thing. And then every extinguisher has to be serviced and tagged by a licensed company annually. So often that's where we see violations. The business will have an extinguisher, but it'll be years overdue for service. And those need to be serviced and tagged annually by a licensed company.
Kind of like my tank when I go diving.
Exactly. Exactly. They check it over and make sure it's functioning like it should.
Great.
And then they tag it so we know. The second E was emergency lighting. Those are the lights throughout the building, especially in hallways, corridors, stairwells that run on battery backup. So the purpose of those lights is to kick on if the building loses power so occupants can still find their way around. Okay. The third E was exit signs, and those need to be in place anytime there's a question of where the exit could be located. Exit access has to be maintained. Exits can't be blocked by storage. They can't be locked. A big one we see in St. Augustine is sandbags piled up outside of exit doors. Right. And business owners really need to make sure that they're moving those sandbags, as important as they are here in the city to keep flooding out of businesses. They have to be moved. They can't be blocking those exit doors.
Only in the emergency are you allowed to block the door.
Exactly,
with the sandbag.
when the building is not occupied.
Right.
The fifth E was electrical. We're looking for a lot of different types of electrical issues, but the most common fire hazard we see pertaining to electrical issues is extension cords. They're fine for temporary use, but they shouldn't be used in place of a permanent electric solution. Major appliances should never be plugged into them, and they can never be running through walls or ceilings. So those are just a few of the types of things I'm looking for. For those businesses who do have extensive fire life safety systems in place, those need to be inspected annually. So we're looking at those to make sure they've been serviced the way they should be, and that there aren't any major issues.
Keeping everybody safe.
Just trying to. Yep.
Yeah, and we have a lot of old buildings.
We have a lot of old buildings. Lots of little characteristics here that other people don't necessarily see.
I would imagine too, you get a lot of stuff stowed in back hallways. When you're talking about access to exits or access within the building, that you probably find a lot of. Maybe you shouldn't store all those boxes. A lot of storage piled up. A lot of extension cords linked to other extension cords that are running through walls and underneath all that storage. So things to be aware of.
Yes.
So, Abby, you mentioned briefly, and we'll have you back probably in October to talk about the short-term rentals. And I want to make sure, just for our listeners' sake, the city is working on some guidelines for short-term rentals. You mentioned the apartments, 3 units. Yes. And so that's where probably that short-term rental comes into effect. And we just want our listeners to know any of that information will be coming later. There is nothing going on right now in regards to short-term rental inspections or anything like that, correct?
Correct. We cannot start enforcing or inspecting short-term rentals until those rental owners have submitted an application, until they're registered through the city. Then we'll receive notification that we can start inspecting them, but it won't be before October 1st.
And the city hasn't put anything in place, just if anyone's listening and concerned. There's nothing in place as of yet.
Correct.
But stay posted. Any of that information we'll be sure to share as well. And in talking about information and where to find out, where do I find out a little bit more about the inspections. Can I schedule this? Do I call you? Do I?
You can schedule them on our website, which is citysaintaugfire.com, or you can call us at the fire department, either myself, Abby, or the fire marshal, Chief Growick. We can
get something on the books.
Yes.
Yep. And is there a fee?
There is a fee.
Okay.
The city statute requires a $25 fire safety inspection fee. That's across the board, whether your building is 1,000 square feet or 40,000. There's no monetary penalty for having fire code violations during an inspection. It's just a set $25. And I don't collect the fee while I'm there. It's emailed out in an invoice by the city days or weeks after the inspection.
So if I have some discrepancies or delinquencies in my inspection, you're just going to tell me a date that I need to have it fixed, and you're going to come back and just keep monitoring.
We try not to give a date. I usually tell people, get this corrected immediately because it is important to life safety. But we hope that people can make most of the corrections right there on site or overnight at the latest. But yeah, there's no, we're not out to shut people down.
Right.
I'm not out to be a bad guy. We just like to point out the violations and hope that people can correct them as soon as possible.
Very good. Before we wrap up today, you're the fire safety inspector, but you've got some other fun things that you get to do with your job. Share with us a few of the other more fun community outreach type things you get to do. I think being a firefighter is really cool, but I think also your job as the inspector is pretty neat too with your other responsibilities.
Yeah, that's really one of my favorite parts about the job is the public education, the public outreach, public safety. So every October we celebrate Fire Prevention Week, and here in the city we celebrate it all month. And normally I visit the schools and do a demonstration, show the kids our gear, our trucks, do a little bit of fire safety, education. This year it's probably going to be a little different. I think it's going to be done mostly virtually, but we still love that outreach and not just schools, but to assisted living facilities. We go to senior communities and do talks and demonstrations. I do CPR and fire extinguisher classes. So if you're a business in town who wants to train your employees on using a fire extinguisher, we do fire extinguisher classes. We have a live propane prop with live fire that they can spray out with the extinguisher. So that's really cool. I talked a little bit about Fire Prevention Month. We have that coming up soon.
Great. The classes, are those things that people come to the station, you go to them, or it could be either way?
Either one. Yep. Okay. Either one.
Wonderful.
And those can also be scheduled online on the website, citysaintaugfire.com.
And to repeat, citysaintaugfire.com, you guys got your new website launched when we launched the city site, so folks can go check it out. There's some broken links or some information that's still being updated.
It's still a work in progress.
Work in progress. And I understand also you're going to be, we should be seeing a little bit more of activity on some of your social media. You're going to be doing some of the social media posting as well.
Yes.
So that's exciting.
Yes, I am. I look forward to that.
That's great. If you're just now tuning in and you missed this interview, check out the Break Room webpage at citysaintaugradio.com. You can listen to this entire broadcast from the beginning, and of course, you'll also find past interviews there too. As we wrap up another edition of The Break Room, I hope we answered your questions about fire inspections. If we didn't, take a minute to drop an email to info@citysaintaug.com. Let me know what we missed and if there's anything you would like to hear about. We want to keep you informed about what's happening in and around the city, and most importantly, that you hear it here from the people doing the work and making it happen every day. Stay connected with the city. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City St. Aug. And you can also follow the fire department on Facebook and Instagram at City St. Aug Fire. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.
You've been listening to The Break Room, a weekly program about projects and programs offered by the City of St. Augustine. We hope you'll join us each week as host Melissa Whistle and her guests have a conversation that helps you better understand how our city works to meet the needs of our community. See you next time on The Break Room.